Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today we're going to be getting this grumpy landlord into a pub in the walled old town of Brick Nottingham, based on, yes you guessed it, the Old Guarded Inn, set 6067 from way back in 1986. Oh, I can't wait to do my spin on this old classic set. Anyway, before we get to that new build, I've got some amendments from last time. Good. Well, last time we did this lovely Space Academy tower, and you've sent in loads of potential changes, and I've done quite a few of them. So one was to add the spacesuits onto a plinth to make sure that it looks like a spacesuit that's on display rather than just a man in a spacesuit walking along. Good point. And I've done a second one here with the collectible series minifigure as well, moving the sort of geodes downstairs to the office of Madcap himself, Professor Madcap. So that is a really good one. I've also continued the purple around the side, as suggested by a few people, just to, well, use them up, because I used the glitter bricks instead of needing the 1x2x5s. And I think that looks really nice, bringing that sort of night sky kind of perspective onto a different angle as well. Really good there. There's a few at the bottom where somebody suggested that I use some slightly better tiles than the black ones as the deliberate trip hazard that holds the sliding door in place. And I've got these sort of satin, kind of glossy blue ones that almost look a bit starry themselves. So yeah, hopefully you can see that there. And then there was a lot about putting some more stuff on the outside. This is just a placeholder for some bare tarmac, basically. I mean, I'm going to do something much better, but I don't know where it's going yet. But one thing that I did have planned for it that I forgot to show you was this lovely statue with its Latin inscription from the set 5974, Galactic Enforcer, a Space Police 3 set from 2009. And he's got a lovely torso there as well. And he's kind of classic space. Well, he is, isn't he? He's got the classic space logo there, but with sort of cracks to show the age of the statue as well. So I'm definitely having that out front and center. Brilliant. And then there was loads of suggestions about extending the whole solar system out and making it sort of have Jupiter and all the rest on, but that seems a bit extreme for this size. But there were a few more that I really did like. And one was to add a rocket or a satellite or something going around, a man-made thing. So I've got a Vitarush sponsored rocket flying there outside Mars, so that's looking pretty good. And then right on the top here, I've got these sort of electric bolt pieces attached to a little rock flying out to represent a comet far out in the solar system as well. And that just fills in with a bit more 3D-ness, some more of the really blank kind of frontage. So yeah, I really liked all those ideas. There's loads of different ones that were doing sort of very similar ideas but different actual items, but I think those two work very well, especially like the kind of double tail on this comet, almost like an omen in the olden days. So that is really good. Oh, and the last one, which you probably can't see unless I bend this thing over, is just do a slightly longer telescope so it's sticking out of the dome a little bit more visibly. So that is cool as well. So absolutely loads of suggestions, making it look even more colourful and much better. I especially like the purple going around the corner. Good plan, guys. So here is all of your bedoings, if one of those was yours. Well done. All right, back to today's build, and I'm really excited for this one because this was one of my favourite sets as a child. It's kind of sacrosanct to me. I spent hours looking at it in the Lego catalogues, and it was kind of the pinnacle of Lego creation, if you ask me. And that's why it seems a bit wrong in some respects to make any changes to it at all. I just put it on that top shelf and kind of think, yes, it's just perfect the way it is. But I mentioned that before in a brick haul, and you all gave me full permission to personalize it as much as possible. That's what Lego's all about, you reminded me. Yeah, you're very right. So I think I'm going to feel empowered now to make some good changes to it and take it into the next level for my city. So that is awesome. Now, I didn't own one back in the day, but a friend of mine did, and wow, I was so jealous of his collection. He had all the castle stuff, and I had none whatsoever, but I'm going to make up for that now. And I've accumulated already the hardest to find parts, because there's quite a few difficult bits if you're going to try and piece together a garden inn. The hardest one is the tiny little sign for out front with kind of 2 goblets on and a bunch of grapes. And I think everyone is trying to sort of piece together their childhood, or maybe like me, get the set that they never actually owned themselves for the first time. And as a result, they're an absolute fortune. I don't think I'd be able to afford one now, but luckily I bought one in the past, way back when the brick halls were like in single figures or something like that. Yeah, that far ago. I bought one for about £3, £4, £5, which is a ridiculous price then, but an impossible to find price now. So I really did a good score. I basically bought it just for a bit of nostalgia because I wasn't going to build the whole thing. Well, here we are, and now I'm building the whole thing. So yeah, awesome progress. The other part that's really hard to get usually is these lovely panel pieces in red with the black sort of Tudor lines of the wooden beams making up the walls, and they are absolutely beautiful. But I didn't have to secure those because somebody sent them into the channel as part of a subscriber brick haul. So I've probably already given you your bedoing, but here is another one because that was very generous, and now they're going to be put into use. So yeah, I'm really pumped. So in my city, I'm going to have an old town at the base of old Major Oak Hill. And essentially, it's going to be loads of old buildings, sort of narrow streets, all cobbled and so on. And the whole thing is going to have a castle wall around it, a relatively low one. And that's what makes the Guarded Inn so perfect for me, because, well, it's already got that castle wall built into the left-hand side as you look at it. So I think it'll just be exactly as it was, leaning up against the outside wall of the old town, and yeah, being a modern, well, if dingy, sort of pub. Well, maybe we'll not make it dingy with flowers in window boxes and stuff like that, make it a proper scene of Little England. That would be really good. But the one thing that I do know with my walled city and my sort of plans for where everything's going to go is that I think I'm going to have it near a kind of gatehouse, so people could, you know, come in the old days and stay overnight, or now come in for a bit of refreshment. But it's going to need the wall on the right-hand side. So one of the bigger changes that I'm going to be making is mirroring the whole thing, just so it looks like it's absolute mirror image. So yeah, but as for all the other littler changes, I think I'm going to go into LDD and show you exactly what I've got planned. All right, well, how could you possibly improve such a lovely set? I mean, it is just a classic, timeless, even if it does look a little old, I suppose, by modern standards. But what do I want to change to make this even better? Well, a few things, actually. Firstly, I don't like this very narrow wall at the top. It doesn't have enough room for soldiers, and it kind of looks a bit monotone as well. So I kind of think that all of this area should be a lot darker, probably a nice dark grey, something like that, to make it stand out, and broader. So I think that would be good. Also, tidying up this wall so it didn't have all these sort of strange bits and clips and attachments for joining onto other castle sections would be a good improvement, as well as probably getting rid of the stable floor in black. I mean, we need it on the inside for the actual body of the build, but yeah, not for the stable section, I don't think. And then also, I do want to keep the kind of hinged front. I do like the fact that this opens up and you can see inside, but obviously we'll need a bar rather than just a table with some flowers on. And I want to get the a fire going in the hearth as well, so that would be quite an improvement. And then maybe a second pub sign on something like this, maybe kind of a modified brick in there with something hanging off, because I've got quite a few alternatives for that. And then also on the side, and maybe on the front as well, these sort of one-sided shutters I don't entirely like, especially not on the ground floor, because if it was a guarded inn, well, it doesn't look very guarded with that sort of a thing going on. I think it'd be a lot better to have maybe a 4-wide arch or something like that, and have an arch window with the kind of bars across it or something like that to make it look a bit more guarded and secure. So that is a good idea. And then on the back, well, we need a back wall, I think, because this is going to be in the old town, in amongst absolutely everything else. So I'm going to basically need another one of these fancy panels and doors and so on to close this off. So yeah, we can still open it with that opening section, but it'll have another door going into the rear, which will probably be a pub garden or something like that. So yeah, I think there's quite a few things to change, but none of them too difficult, I don't think. So, oh yeah, and one more. This kind of turret at the top, it looks a bit small and it looks a bit square and it looks a bit hard to get into. I mean, well, how on earth do you get into it? That's always my biggest problem with it. So I think I'm going to try and get a ladder up here, or maybe some steps or something like that in a different colour built into the roof to at least give the appearance that you could kind of leap over this battlement wall here, because otherwise you're going to be scraping your way up these slates and it's going to be very slippy if it was raining. So yeah, we'll do something to improve that as well. But yeah, it's a great set. It doesn't need a whole lot of change, apart from the fact that I'm going to be mirroring, of course, the whole thing. So yeah, it's going to look the exact opposite of this. All right, well, let's start the build and get this stout yeoman of the bar behind the bar, not waving, but pulling pints. That'll be good. Cheer him up a bit, I think. I think we should call him something like Grumpy Jed or something like that. Kind of appeals to me as having an old-fashioned name, if you ask me. Anyway, I've got some old leftover plates here just to represent the base plates for wherever this exactly ends up. I don't know where it will be, and I'll be able to put in a bit more sort of features where I know what the surrounding area looks like and so on. But what I have done for now, apart from put the footprint on for the wall along the right-hand side now, and for the build in the middle there, is add these Trix bricks kind of pavers with all the sort of crazy paving of some old cobblestones, and that will go through the sort of stable bit and then peter out in this diagonal line. Turns out I had 21 rather than the 20 I ordered, so yeah, good deal. So anyway, there we go. So first of all, I'm just going to add some plates for the ground level, and careful not to attach to any studs the bit that we want moving and opening like a sort of doll's house action on the front. So that's what that bit is there. So this will be our sort of front lip, and there'll probably be a slightly bigger distance than just two studs before a road or something like that. So I'll probably have it quite close to the road though, because old-fashioned buildings were built right up to it, weren't they? So yeah, that's about right for now. Then one thing I really wanted on the inside was a little fire in the hearth, which is made up of this little arch piece. So I just thought I'd get one by one with whole brown piece to represent a very, very small amount of wood. With a flame there, so that can be in our little arch, and that makes it much more reasonable why there's a chimney there going all the way up the side of the building. So then we can add that onto, yeah, I think it's that way around, isn't it? Like that, behind there. That looks really interesting, and that's one of the eaves to support the roof. And in that gap, I can put a kind of pub table made of a barrel with somebody having a nice chestnut brown looking ale there. That looks very tasty indeed, if you ask me. So that can go in there. And then we can add the front on. And the front's obviously made of these two constituent parts of that lovely panel and this old-fashioned blue door on these connecty bricks that actually are quite hard to get hold of as well, especially in certain colours. But yeah, I managed to get those. So that will go onto there. And there is our opening sort of front section, so I can pin that in place with the next sort of tower. I've built it into little sub-assemblies just to save me time, and you'll see that I'm using patterned bricks because old grey bricks are relatively few and far between, and I want this to look in keeping with the older parts of the city which use that colour. So I've just got those facing inwards, and you'll never see those patterns, but yeah, they aren't very useful to me. So essentially that needs to go on like that, and I haven't messed that up. No, that's still working. And I'm going to have an extra pub sign hanging from here, because although we'll have that flag one, it doesn't have the name of the pub on, so I want to have a second one. I've got quite a few choices to look at later as well, so just pin all of that in place. And then on the original set, there used to be a couple of sort of chalices stored up above the door there, so I thought that might be a good idea to do, and it's actually been quite hard getting some of the old-fashioned colours of blue and white on there, and I put them on a very modern piece of this 3-long 2-stud jumper, but that can smarten up that bit above the door and look like some old memorabilia for a modern pub dressed up as an old one. There. Right, so these tiles on the floor are representing where the barman our stout yeoman of the bar, is going to be standing. So I just want to do a really simple interior because we're not going to be peering in it too much. I think when it opens, it'll be opening into the road, which obviously isn't very realistic. Well, it's not realistic yet opening at all, really, is it? But I've got a couple of beer pumps on here where you just pull the handle down to turn on the tap. So it's just a headlight brick with one of those sort of action pose stands in the back. And obviously they've got the kind of shield on the front, which is the keg badge for 2 different beers, whatever that one says. And then the BFF beer friend forever. I don't know what that stands for, but it's a friend's tile, which I just thought was a really good different colour. And as long as it's got some sort of pattern on it, it looks great. And there's another different chestnutty beer. Ooh, that one looks even more tasty if you ask me. So that can go there. So it's a very cramped old world pub. You have to squeeze past to get in when you come in the door, and probably the same to get out the back. But that's why we've got this big area out here for people to stand and have their beers. So then the back wall can come on like that, similar to the old original build. So we're starting to enclose it now. And then we can bring in our final pieces of wall, these lovely pattern pieces. And they've got a little bit kind of red tiling as part of them in a way on the floor. So that's what I've done with the existing tiles. There were just one stud for the barman. So it's all red behind the bar. Put that back on there. So that goes there. And one of the changes I wanted to do was to improve the window down here and put it in a lattice sort of window dressing with of 1x4 arch instead. And I think, whoop, it keeps coming off, I think that's looking a lot better, a lot more, I don't know, well, integrated than the weird kind of little panel bit that we had before with the flappy shutter. And then we've got the same door on the back as well, just to block us all in. And then, we're pretty much at our ground floor. So, let's try and pick that up again. So we've got our back door there going into the beer garden at one side of the bar. And then we've got our door in from the front going into that side of the bar. And obviously that entire section opening so we can really look at it like a doll's house and see all the beers and the patrons and this guy. I suppose we better put him in now. Is there going to be enough room for me to work him in, or will I have to do it off camera? Who knows? Well, he's going in about there. Cool. Let's get on with the wall next. Right, well, Jed is safely ensconced in there. So, yeah, touching a beer. Maybe he's having a pint on the job. I can't blame him. If I was him, I think I'd be tempted to do the same. But yeah, we'll get on with doing the wall because all of this is a bit sort of flimsy at the moment. And I've just done a great big section of it to start us off with those panels on. I don't know exactly how this is going to go either because it might be building straight into a great big gatehouse or goodness knows what. So there will be a section of wall, whether it will be this exact one, I don't know. But essentially, it's going to go along this wall for now. And the original set had these green sort of flashes around here for sort of weeds and so on. I think I'm going to keep those to keep it in line with the original set. And it also had kind of a bit of a base along here with green there. And I think I'll have tufts coming out the other side of the wall along a waterway or something like that. Obviously, you won't be able to see the base plate level or that grey one. So it just looks like some natural stuff, and it won't be kind of like this toothpaste stripe is at the moment when it's all finally in place. But yeah, that's it for now. We need a placeholder wall. So rather than have all of those nasty details on the original set with all the clips for weapons and connections for Technic pieces to go into, I'm just going to do some nice round bricks in old grey as well to give it a bit of an ornate end at each end, and then I can put on my much broader, wider section of wall top in dark bluish grey, and I think that gives it a good contrast to everywhere else that's adjacent to it, and also it gives enough room for people to walk around, and maybe there's a walking tour for tourism or something like that at the top of it. I think that would be a really good idea. I've definitely done that in many cities in my travels. And then we've got the flat bit, which is joining it to the main body of the building as well. So there's an 8x8 plate there going onto the back of there. That's all securely on, and I can finish our crenulated wall. That's the posh word for and then we've got the start of the steps that are going to be going up the side of the roof. I'm just going to do them in blunt 2x2 bricks because, well, the whole set's a bit clunky and old looking, so I think doing something really ornate and modern is going to make it look a bit more weird than it otherwise would. So I'm using a slightly different colour just so it stands out a bit, which is old dark grey. So that will be different than the dark bluish grey on there. So that will continue up when we do the roof, but that's just resting on that eave there. Then, completely unchanged from the old set, I was considering doing more of these four wide arches and these lattice things for the windows on the gable ends like this. But then I thought, well, that's going a bit too far from the original set. So I have got a pair of these, one on each side for the top section there. And now we've got our pole for our flag pub sign, so that one goes on to there, and I'll hopefully give the front a bit of strength now. Yep, so that can all move out. Yep, this pole doesn't hit anything because we've got that section now. I have to remember that when I'm doing other sections of wall, so that's good. Oh, it's starting to look good already, isn't it, with these cobblestones and stuff. Looks absolutely great. Then we've got the chimney, just a few chimney pots. I don't think they were on the original set either, so that's looking good. And then I think we should have some smoke, and there's a couple of pieces that are contenders for that. I mean, we could put both in, but yeah, I don't know. Is it sort of wisping out very slowly like that, or is it sort of coming out at more of a pace? I kind of think that looks a bit more fun, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to need to go and grab that rare flag piece for our horizontal sign. What a mess this old Lego room is, but here is what we seek on the roof of the Krusty Krab, the old lovely pub sign. It's a little faded, showing its age, but it is still rather fabulous, and I do want to include it for historic reasons, so we'll have that and take it down for our build. Lovely. Wow, this is great because it is two-sided, of course, so we can have it on that bar piece and have it visible from absolutely every angle. So yeah, I can clip that on there very carefully. It seems to have lost a bit of its grab, you know, or the piece was less well made in those days. So I don't want to be too forceful with that because I think I might split one of the clips otherwise, but that looks really nice on there. But it doesn't have a pub name, and I do want a pub name because, well, that's the most fun thing about British pubs, isn't it? So I've got quite a few contenders actually that I've been collecting, and I will be using pretty much all of these, I hope, in the old town, so it's not like they won't get used. But I've got Josie's Inn, which has got a very similar sign, so maybe that's the one we should use actually, which came on one of the pirate sets. Was it Barracuda Island or whatever it was called, that I got on Bricks and Pieces? So we've got that one. It's not my favourite name, but I do like the fact that the sign matches. We've got the Leaky Cauldron, which is, I don't even know, I imagine it's a shop or a pub, I don't know, in Harry Potter. So yeah, there's that one. Probably won't use that one. And then I got sent in these two, which are not official Lego pieces, but printed by another company. We've got the Prancing Pony, which is referring to Lord of the Rings, and the Green Dragon, which I absolutely love because it's got a Lego style old dragon with a frothy pint of beer. So I think I'm going to put that one on for now. But you tell me what you think in the comment section, which one I should. I imagine Josie's Inn is the alternate option because of the similarity in the sign. But for now, I like the Green Dragon, so I'm just going to put that on there. And the reason why we've got this sort of horizontal flappy sign is because it's not double-sided, of course, is it? It's single-sided. So I have that one facing away from the wall directly out, and that one, if you're up and down the street, you know where you can go for a tasty beer. So there we go. Oh, I love those cobblestones in there. That looks so natural. I really like it. Cool. Right, so then on the back, we've got our smoke, we've got our pub sign. We need some barrel tables for the pub garden. So I'm just going to put a couple of those everywhere. I've got some pints here. I mean, in due course, I'll have loads of patrons enjoying these pints on little jumpers and things like that. But for now, I'm just going to put the barrels in so you can imagine it bustling with people, maybe with the door wide open to let people get top-ups whenever they need it. And then the walking tour can be going on along here around the city walls as part of their tourism. So that is already looking absolutely awesome if you ask me. So we better finish the rest of the main body of the roof and get those stairs going all the way up to the lovely turret. Awesome. Well, it already looks good from the front, doesn't it? Almost like it's complete. I think these extra battlements over here are a good idea from the original as well. Oh, and an extra bedoing for the person who sent in those signs. Thank you for those again. They're now coming into use. I'm glad you'll be very happy to see. So we can continue up doing the same sort of shutter as we did on the front, on the back, and that will hold the structure together there a bit more firmly and allow us to close the door a bit better. There we go. So that's looking good. Then we need some roof sections for in here. So we've got some 3 wide slopes there and 3s and 2s there to make 5, and that's all bringing it in a lot better. And then I've kind of beefed up the internal structure with these lovely big black wooden eaves, because they kind of used black in the olden days for wood because, well, brown didn't yet exist. Maybe on a couple of barrel pieces, but that was about it. So the black represents wood, but then some really old wood almost is black, isn't it, with age? So that's fitting in there, and I'm using a couple of more modern bricks that didn't exist in those days to fill in the gaps, but that's all right. A couple more of the steps in the old dark grey as well. See, that's going to be a lot easier to get up if you're a soldier, isn't it? Right, then we've got a whole roof section here, done exactly the same as the original, with the slope of the roof sort of coming out a bit there, with some wider slopes. And I love these little 2 windows up here with that eave piece, and it's just 2 headlight bricks with the back end facing on, but it does look like 2 little windows there. So that goes on about here. And this is what I've got to be careful when I push everything down that I don't sort of collapse it in, even though we do have a supporting structure. Don't want to put my hand right through it. Oh, that's looking good. Look at that. See, that window definitely looks a lot better than the original, I think, and we've still got the originals kind of up there. So yeah, I'm happy with that decision. And then we've got the original section for the top as well, with now a new and improved plinth for our turret. So this side's got stonework, and this side's got the last final step in that old dark grey. So that will go on like this. Well, it's all going together quite well. Excellent. Almost like I planned it. Yeah, that's nice. Oh, so good. This is like a dream coming true. Oh, wow. It's very cool, isn't it? I'm very excited. And this is what I decided to use for the turret on the top. Rather than having that boring old square, I've got a couple of these spare, which somebody else sent in, actually. I wasn't planning on using these, but yeah, they're really good, aren't they? So yeah, another bedoing for the person who sent those in. We're giving them out like anything today. But I think they, representing a sort of 8x8 turret is better than a 6x6. And these angles a bit more interesting as well. So I'm going to have that like that. Oh, and that like that, with these slopes helping support it. Now, the soldier will still have to, in chainmail, kind of vault over there. But, anyway, it's better than it was before, even if it's not absolutely perfect. There we go. And then just so it matches my other sort of turrets all over my city, I'm putting these triple slopes on the 2 wide sections of the top there to make it a bit more pointy, a bit fewer studs everywhere, and a bit more ornate. And then, if that wasn't enough, we've got the wind going that way, clearly, so we better have these flags going in the same direction, otherwise it won't make much sense. And I've got deliberately one of each of the 2 different mirror images, so we've got that more sort of rippling in the wind sort of kind of thing going on. And there we have the final top. I think this needs pressing down a little bit better, but you get the idea. That is my new and improved guarded in, the Green Dragon, as it currently is, but I'm thinking I might be changing it to Josie's Inn soon. But we've got better battlements. We've got steps up to the better turret with pointy bits. We've got smoke coming out of the chimney. We've got really good cobblestones here. That is absolutely perfect. I think that was a late addition, but one of my favourite bits, leading us through the dark old stables through to the beer garden. Got an opening door here with our bar, with different beers on sale, different keg badges and Grumpy Jed, and an interior table for when it's raining, which is pretty often in the UK. Those nice goblets, adding a bit of detail. So I think it'd be great, the fact that we know we can open this. And then the same deal on the back, but permanently closed with a door there and some more barrel tables strewn around a beer garden. And this will probably blend straight into the back of another shop, or maybe there'll be a little cafe here facing onto it, who knows. But this wall will go all the way around a multi base plate sort of section of city. You know, very, very big indeed. So I think that'll look great. And when it's on base plates, it doesn't have this weird bright green line along the bottom. It'll be even cooler. But yeah, that is a dream completed with the help of about 3 or 4 different people. And it's, wow, really great. I think, golly, that might be my favourite angle. But this is why I mirrored it, actually, because with that being on the right now, this would be facing us in that first standing hole on the other side from what we've done already. And we'll be able to see sort of this angle from the main viewing angle. We'll be able to see this from the standing hole. And if we peer around it or we look from the second standing hole, we'll be able to see the back of it into there, kind of over the top of the station. So that's roughly where I'm thinking of putting it. Kind of where the Krusty Krab was in the old city, if you're familiar with that sort of layout. In addition to the Krusty Krab, not instead of. Yeah, extra battlements here to make it look more realistic in its original guise as a castle. And yeah, more space to put people as well. Absolutely love it. But what do you think? Well, cheers everyone. Here's to a fantastic build. And one of the best things about having a Lego build channel is that, well, I get to complete a lot of my Lego life goals, really. And one of the best things about having a Lego brick haul channel is that loads of you are able to help me, and that is so appreciated. I wouldn't be able to do it this well without your help. I think there were so many bits, signs, top bits, panels that made it only possible with your help. But it is a great build. And I'm really looking forward to ploughing on with the city, because it's going to be rubbish in isolation, not having anywhere else to build into. So it's going to spur me on to get that old town complete and this fully, properly installed. But yeah, it's absolutely great. I'm going to have to get a soldier and stick him in the top as soon as possible. But that is a fantastic grail build for me, and I think it's come out very well indeed. We've also been very faithful to the original set, and we've also got the play feature as well, whilst adding lots of new bits sort of all over the place to make it even better. So yeah, absolutely love that. A job well done, if I do say so myself. So as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome Lego builds. Do also subscribe to the Brick Haul channel if you want to send me something like all of the people did today. And if you value these channels, there are many ways in which you can support them. Do check out the links in the description below. Your support is greatly appreciated. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, we'll be doing another build like this. Who knows what? And then Wednesday we'll be doing a brick haul as per usual, because the packages are piling up because I keep having new ideas. I know. Anyway, until all of that, see you. Oh, nom nom nom. I might get a pint as well now, Robin, if that's all right with you. Cool, let's go.